All right, everybody. It is Tuesday night, which means another episode of the Big Three. We're back again. NFL season started. We're gonna get into all that, all the craziness that happened over the weekend. Well, we'll first start off with Team USA and all of that. So we got a lot to get into, but before we do that, go around see how everybody's doing. So Jake, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. I forgot how much fun Sundays are. Just eating wings, watching football with my dad, like just having a good time. Even though the games were particularly great, there was a lot of, just rough games as we've seen in week one for the past couple of seasons. Didn't matter. It was just such a nice thing to have just to spend countless hours watching football all day. So I'm in a great mood.
Okay, okay.
Oh, I think you muted. You good?
Yeah.
Okay, you good. Okay,
Streamers trying to do it to me again. But Greg, how are you doing, man? How's everything going with you?
Man, everything's been doing well. Sunday was great, although I was working. Where I work is just a lot of football was going on anyway. I saw all of them games anyway, so it was amazing. What Sunday and even Monday was doing. It was great.
All right, all right. Dylan, what's up, man? How you doing?
Okay, cool. Am I good? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm not sure if Kyle can, but
I don't, Kyle,
regardless,
can you hear him?
uh, probably not. But regardless, my Sunday was good. I was traveling to OKC on a trip, but I watched, just NFL Red Zone while one of my buddies drove for my work trip, and then kind of finished up some of the games on the way there. So it was good. I thought it was a very interesting first week. Kind of sucked being a Seattle fan, just getting smacked by the Rams, but got to take it with a grain of salt. So hopefully week 2 will be better.
Yep, week one's always weird, man. You can't overreact to week one. Weird stuff happens every year, and we're so like football deprived that all we want to do is just harp on and overanalyze everything for week one. And if we were to do that last year, we would say that the Bengals were just terrible because they looked like garbage, and Joe Burrow had.
We could say that this week one too.
Yeah, but like Joe Burrow had 4 turnovers. I think it was 4 turnovers against the Steelers, and the Steelers did not play very good on offense. And I think T.J. Watt got hurt in that first game, and then Joe Burrow's like the second best quarterback in the league. So we could spend all this over over our team, over our fantasy team, whatever it is. And it's just because we've been deprived, and we don't know what to do with all this new stuff here. So it's hard though, because we have to wait like a few more days, a whole week before we get the whole bulk of games again to see if are the Steelers really going to be this bad? Are the Cowboys this good? Are the Giants this bad? Like we have all this time just to wait because we only have 1 week of 1 week of film to kind of go by.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Is it? I mean, I kind of wanted to wait till Kyle get back to do overreactions, but I mean, while we're here, was there anything that you just thought was an outlier? Like you was like, okay, this is definitely not happening again. Like this is not happening back to back weeks. Anything that happened this past Sunday or Monday?
Cincinnati a little bit to me, just because of the fact that Joe Burrow missed all of preseason. He's still lingering with that calf injury, and also like look. We can hate on the Browns. We could say the Browns are going to brown because that's what they do, but they have a really, really talented roster. And we just are kind of assuming that Deshaun Watson's going to play like he did last season, and he's probably going to be better. He looked better on Sunday than he did all of last season. We just don't want to speak for everybody, but a lot of people don't want to see him succeed. So I just don't see the Bengals being that bad again. Do I see him being great? I don't know. Baltimore we'll see what happens with the Ravens. But the big outlier for me is Cincinnati. I'm not taking too much stock into that loss. What about you, Greg? Anything?
An outlier. Man, I don't know.
Like outlier that you just don't believe in. Like it was a fluke.
I'm okay. I'm not gonna lie. The Giants being that bad as a Cowboys fan, like that was a great. Sunday night was amazing. It was great. That defense is like that. I don't care what Freddie be talking about. I don't care what he's talking about in his spaces right now or his live stream. Cowboys defense is like that. But the Giants being that bad, for me having Saquon Barkley on fantasy, I pray that this offense is not that bad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I picked them for a reason. You feel me? So I think that was a little bit of an outlier. Maybe it was. Point blank, they just weren't ready to play, and both New York teams just kind of looked a little crazy. All New York teams kind of looked a little crazy.
It was a bad day for New York football.
Just
for New York football.
just in general. So, I didn't have a lot of stock in Daniel Jones. But the fact that Saquon couldn't, get off the way he normally could, I think that's an outlier. I think he will have a good season this year.
It's definitely a situation where next week, who do they play? Who did the Giants play? I thought I just had it pulled up. Oh, they play the Cardinals. Okay, so this is a good situation for the Giants because they played pretty terrible. They look, like you said, Greg. They looked really unprepared, which is not what you'd expect from their coaching staff being so good. But they were unprepared, and it looked like they kind of just were overwhelmed. Now they get to play the Cardinals. Cardinals don't have a good roster. They do have a really aggressive pass rush. They played pretty tough against Washington, but this is their get right game. This is their chance to kind of fix things and look a little sharper. So we'll see what the Giants do. If they play badly against the Cardinals, then it's time to panic for the Giants.
All right, Dylan, how about you?
I mean, I don't want to sound like a homer, but hopefully Seattle. I mean, they really kind of looked very sluggish week one. Very undisciplined, which is not very uncharacteristic for a Pete Carroll ran team. A lot of dumb penalties, a lot of unsportsmanlike conducts, unnecessary roughnesses. Offense didn't really seem like it was clicking super well. I mean, we were up at half, and then the defense just let 23 unanswered go, and that's what kind of really lost us the game. So I feel like the Seattle team would be more disciplined and ready. They play Detroit next week, which could be very tough. We saw how they played Kansas City, but we also know that was just a beat up Kansas City team, who are obviously going to play a lot better next week, having Chris Jones back now. So
for sure,
we're going to see. I hope Seattle will play better. I hope they do win. But I don't think we're going to see like a big blow up like we did.
No, you should be in a little bit better shape for the Seahawks because you don't have Kadarius Toney on your team, and he was the MVP for the Lions. Like straight up, he won the game for the Lions, even though he's obviously a member of the Chiefs. So it shouldn't be that bad for you guys.
Right. Yeah, Kyle, before we went into overreactions, we went and said, and we kind of gave our what we thought was an outlier this past weekend for Sunday, Monday. What was something that you just felt like was not going to be replicated twice? Yeah, in your opinion.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, look, there's a couple of teams that really surprised me, and I don't know if I can really buy into them yet. Arizona playing pretty decent, I guess, with Joshua Dobbs, even though they did lose. But
they played tough. You got to give them that. They showed up for their coach, which I was worried about. They played tough.
Yeah, so I give them credit for that. I don't know how long it's going to last because it's cool if 1 week they're playing tough and they, game was kind of close. But if next week they get blown out or something,
it's going to be a lot different.
Maybe the morale starts to wane a little bit. So the Arizona Cardinals, and even the Rams, got to throw them in there. Was surprised by their performance, but I feel like I have less faith in the Cardinals being able to be competitive week in and week out. The Rams, at least you have Matt Stafford. We know he's, a pretty good quarterback at any given time. So, yeah.
You look good.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I mean, look, thank you guys for, holding it down while I was getting the
we got you.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying. I see the chat's going already, so definitely I think we're in line we're good.
We
with
haven't
for
put
sure.
any chats in here, but John put out their thoughts on the Saints defense, and as the Saints fan here, I'm just gonna say, who dat? That was some pretty good defense there, man. That secondary was good. The pass rush was good. I mean, Saints. It's funny how things have flipped the past few years because for the longest time it was bad defense, good offense. Now it's just really it's just bad quarterback play. But they played really well. I know Tennessee. You got Tannehill. It's not the best quarterback in the league. I know that Jory's that's Titans is your team, but I was impressed. I was a little worried for the upset that Tennessee would get the win. So with the defense playing that well, I was pretty happy with it.
I will say one, like, it's kind of too soon. Look, the Patriots fan in me loves this comment, but that's all I'll say about it.
We will not have a sad Kyle going forward.
I mean, I put the thread out there. I promise you, I had nothing to do with what happened in New York last night.
That's crazy. Hey.
Look, I'll back Kyle up here on this. He doesn't like the Jets, but I could, as long as I know Kyle, he's never going to wish for an injury on anybody. You don't want to see anybody get hurt, no matter how much you hate a dude. Like, I'll just say this, like, I hate Tom Brady. I've always hated Tom Brady. This is the first time that he hasn't played like a week one game since I was in 8th grade when I started watching football. I'm in my mid-30s. Oh, man. But when he got hurt in, 2008? He got hurt that week one. I was bummed out. And they just come off that undefeated season, and I was rooting against them. You just don't want to see guys get hurt like this. It just sucks. It just sucks. Takes away from – you don't get to see good football.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, it was a tough way for Aaron Rodgers to really go down like that. Only 4 plays in, Jets fans were probably booking tickets to the bridges around New York because all the hype. I mean, all the hype going into the season was just over with at that point.
Steven, just end the season. Just. That's great. I love that. That's fantastic.
Just end the season.
Gee, man, you're supposed to keep that between you and me, man. You're supposed to keep that between us.
He's coming in with the hate here.
But I mean, before we get more into the NFL talk, we do want to talk about Team USA. We'll bring the mood down a little bit because they didn't dominate. They're not the world champions. Yes, I'm bringing that back up. But Freddie, Gene, I believe it. All right, Freddie. Well, I'll deal with you later, Freddie. But let's go ahead. We'll talk about Team USA real quickly. Let me go ahead and show this. Let's see. Melvin, what's going on? What's going on, Jory? Everybody else in the chat. Anthony, Steven, Gene, Freddie. John said Team USA lucky they got as far as they did.
That's
I mean, we could start there. Like, the construction of the team and how it ultimately ended. What's like your revealing thought about this team? Like, what's the one sentence or whatever that when you think back to this group and how they performed, what's the sentence on this team going to be? I'll start with Jake.
Poor rebounding is the first thing that comes to my mind when I look at this team. Just they didn't have and that's a great way to put it, John. Like, no heart, no rebounding, because that's what rebounding really is. For anyone that's played basketball, rebounding is an effort stat. It's a stat for heart, for effort, for toughness, and they just didn't have it. I don't have like the stats on. I know I'm usually the stat guy, but I swear I saw somewhere that the smallest guys on the team were like the leading rebounders, and they didn't play a whole lot of good dudes. Walker Kessler didn't get a whole lot of minutes, and he's a great rim protector, and I don't know why you wouldn't play Walker Kessler when he had just a fantastic rookie season. I know I'm a Jazz fan, and I'm kind of plugging my guy, but he was really good. He's a good young player, and so it's just disappointing. I don't take too much stock into this because it's not the Olympics. These aren't the best of the best. The roster construction isn't the best. We know that they really gear up for next year. But really, it's, when I think about it, it's going to be rebounding matters. Like, there's always ways the international game changes. Back in the day, in the 90s, it was, or 80s and 90s, it was fast guards. And now it feels like it's gone on to rebounding. USA just didn't have it. They were too small for it.
Yeah. Greg, got anything you want to add about this?
So you said one sentence that would describe it.
Like how you remember this performance.
Oh, why was Bobby Portis on the team? When I looked up the first lineup, at first I was confused as why Bobby Portis was on this team. Maybe veteran leadership. At the end, I'm still asking myself why was he a part of this team. I think a second sentence would be, "This is not the Golden State Warriors." So why are we? Why are we conducting? When I say y'all, I'm saying why is Steve Kerr conducting himself like this is the Golden State Warriors? Why are we playing small ball? Why do we have Paulo playing the five? Why do we not use Walker Kessler? Why are we even using Jaren Jackson? Why are we using Triple J as a center when he thrives more at the power forward position? I just think that this whole construction, even at the start, I was scratching my head at the fact that Steve Kerr had Anthony Edwards coming off the bench. That was crazy to begin with. I don't know anybody that was agreeing with that off rip. So I don't like it's a bigger issue like with Steve Kerr, and because he comes from the Greg Popovich tree, can't nobody critique him? Nah, he was not that great. I don't think he was adjusting to his personnel. You don't have Steph Curry, you don't have Klay Thompson on that team, so I don't know why you were doing some of the things that you were doing. You were not adapting to the strengths. We were poor with the rebounding all, um, pretty much all tournament long or cup long. And it's supposed to be a sad day, but look, as a Houston Rockets fan, Dylan Brooks with 40, I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay, but yeah, that's what it was. It just seems like not necessarily poor coaching, but it's just like the lineups were just. I was not agreeing with the lineups from start to finish, at all.
I don't think many people liked the team that was sent over there. I mean, it was cool to see Brunson, Anthony Edwards, guys like that. I'm with you on Triple J, and I think I put this in the network group chat or whatever, that when I see him play, I get the same vibe I get with like Cat, Aiton, big men. They don't. Those are big men that don't necessarily want to be that physical presence down low. And unfortunately, with this team, he needed to be that. You're not going to get that out of him. I'm sorry, because we've seen it with Memphis already. He'll stand around the perimeter too much. He'll play kind of finesse ball around the rim. And the international game is just different. The rules about the ball on the rim and knocking it off and stuff like that. Like, you got to have guys who are just rooted down there and want to make the paint their own. And Jaren Jackson's just not that guy. I get, he was defense player of the year in the running and all that, but when I saw that he was like the big man that you're relying on, I knew this wasn't going to go well. I do agree with you, Greg. Bobby Portis kind of seems like a random addition, but may as well want him to go crazy one game. He just never did it. Because, I mean, Bobby
just
Portis
punch out the guy's best player.
Portis made some crazy glances at people during the NBA season. Maybe Steve Kerr was like, maybe he'll intimidate somebody like that. I don't know.
Maybe
but
he'll intimidate someone.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be more afraid going down the lane if I saw him than Jaren Jackson.
That's fair.
Fair. It's very fair. I'll give you that.
Yeah, Dylan, what do you got to say about Team USA?
Man, if I had like one word, basically, it'd be inconsistent. A lot of this team was based on having good runs or like runs to basically save them a lot of the times. And that could be due to roster construction, the game plan, and different things like that. But the team was very inconsistent. They found themselves having to like claw back to get into a lot of these games when, I mean, honestly, we all probably felt like they should have been dominating a lot of them. And I mean, basketball is really it's a game that's hard to really make some big runs and come back on, especially if you get down a lot. And it's really hard to execute a good steady game plan when you're clawing back the whole time. So, yeah, I would say very inconsistent.
Yeah, like I said, I think we all agree with all that. But it seems like all this has done is, invited all the big name players to kind of commit to the Olympics. Was it next season?
They're like, yeah, that's not happening.
Which
like you hear LeBron wants to come play, and he has like other players who want him to come with, and it's like, yeah, probably.
Right, and it's just like, I mean, Laker fans will probably be like, LeBron, maybe you need to sit down and kind of make sure you're ready for the season. We don't need you going out there. I mean, I guess it might be too soon to make the joke, but pulling Aaron Rodgers or something, getting hurt, and
It's not even getting hurt with. You just can't help yourself, Kyle. It's not even for LeBron to get hurt though. It's like you don't want the miles on him, man. He's like, I don't want to look. I could think of the four of us. I'm probably the biggest LeBron James fan. I know previous people were bigger fans of LeBron James on the show than me. I don't want to see him in the Olympics. I don't. I want to see the last bits of good LeBron James in the NBA, not in the Olympics. I want to see him in the playoffs, make it for a good run. That's just me, because winning the Olympics, like, it's not going to enhance his legacy. If he wins another ring, then yeah, that's going to do it. And if he plays another Olympics, I just don't think he's going to have enough gas left by the time June comes around to make a difference.
I think that's a valid, concern to have. But yeah, go ahead, Dylan. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I don't know. I get the sentiment of that. I would want to see LeBron's best years being played in the NBA, but it'd be cool to see him win a medal again. Just cause. Just be a cool sight. Him with like all the young stars of today winning a medal. It'd be pretty cool.
I mean, I guess it'd be fine if he has like not like a star role. He's kind of a guy who's just there as an ambassador. Fans are just like, oh man, it's LeBron. He plays a few minutes and then he kind of sits down. I think that's fine. But if he's going to go out there to be like, oh, I'm going to bring America.
If he's like expecting to start.
Yeah.
Nah,
like the young guys get the ball.
The only way I would like even remotely give it grace is if LeBron is like quote unquote doing like on some Magic Johnson, Larry Bird type thing and passing the torch to Michael Jordan. Maybe I would, consider something like that. But if you honestly, if you are relying on a 40-year-old LeBron, a 36-year-old Kevin Durant, 30+ Curry, all these people in a mid to late 30s to go get a gold medal. Hey, I hate to say it, maybe we're not the best in the world if we still got to rely on mid 30-year-olds to go get us a gold medal when we should be talking about Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, like all of these people that are in their legit prime. We are still talking about LeBron, Dame, Harden, all these people that should be looking from like the outside in, saying, hey, yo, y'all go take it from here. Like, I don't hear nobody talking about Jaylen Brown. I don't hear anybody. I mean, people talk about Anthony Edwards because of his great play in this World Cup. And I don't really dawn on the World Cup as much because we normally don't really win the World Cup because we don't really care about it as much as, other countries. So I don't really frown upon it like that. But when we talk about the Olympics, like, just think about like 2012, 2008, even 2016. We were talking about the people that were the face of the league that like were in their late 20s. Like Giannis is in his late 20s. Luka, he's young. Like these are players that are going to be playing in different countries. But what we're talking about is 40-year-old LeBron. It's getting harder and harder to defend USA every time we get to this point.
It is. But I want to throw out to the chat. Sander made a great, I think it was Sander made a great point about how for this one, our team played together for a couple months, and all these teams have been playing for years. They're having that. And really, if you look back from 2004 to 2008, that Redeem team, excuse me, the big change that they made was they stayed together. They made the team. They made it an actual team, not just an all-star game. And that's what we have to do. We don't need LeBron. We don't need Kevin Durant. We just need this to be a team. We need to construct a roster that makes sense, that's not an all-star team, and build an offense where they just work together instead of just trying to go out there and hoop. Because if we do that, we're going to lose because the world's caught up.
And I'll add to this. And while that may be true, when that stopped for us, unfortunately, during that World Cup, during that World Cup game when Paul George had that injury. After that, it was a real shift about how competitive we were for World Cups.
That's fair.
How owners, because you look at the trajectory of the Indiana Pacers after that, moving forward, they haven't been the same since then. And a lot of owners and GMs said, "Hey, yo, look, we don't care about the World Cup as much as we care about you winning an NBA championship or diverting our franchise." So I will say we had it used to be a thing, and I think that injury really kind of changed the discourse of how we view everything outside of the Olympics.
Yeah,
In my
great point,
opinion.
Greg. Oh,
Yeah.
great point.
That makes sense. I mean, you did bring up Dame. I'm gonna need Dame to be on a team before he suits up the team USA.
Agreed.
Because I'm not gonna have him going over there and then we have to listen to rumors about he still wants to be in Miami. If he's not in Miami, you're not on Team USA. I'm calling that now.
That's
I
fair.
don't need that. I don't.
I got
need
no
that.
problems with that. I got no problems with that.
I'm good. Go somewhere.
Yeah, do something. I don't know. Fine. Don't call Dwight hoop in Taiwan until they make a deal. Whatever. Portland doesn't care. They'll sign the waiver. Just do something. But yeah, I do agree. I think in terms of the hierarchy for these players, the FIBA World Cup's not that big of a deal. If it's something where you're just sending young stars plus Bobby Portis, well, I think we can live with results like this. More people, maybe because the Olympics, might be a little bit more bothered by it because the Olympics are just seen as a grand stage and everything like that. But yeah, it was cool to see Josh Hart as well get that recognition because he had a really good year last year. So I'm fine with some of the players on the team, but yeah, it was just a weird group to put together and then try to go out and beat, like you said, Greg. Some of these countries, like these guys have been together like 5+ years. Like they know every little thing about each other. For this USA group, like how much does Brunson really know about Walker Kessler?
Nothing.
Probably nothing.
Nothing.
Right. So it's kind of crazy to think that they're just going to go over there and just dominate. Maybe back in the day when these other countries are just starting to kind of figure out basketball. Like basketball's a universal language now. So these other countries aren't intimidated by the USA anymore.
Nope. But it'll change. Olympics, they'll figure this out. They're going to take it serious. It's probably not going to be with LeBron and Durant and Curry, but it'll be with an actual roster and hopefully a coach that doesn't want to play small ball when when you don't have the guys for it.
We're really missing Coach K. That's what we're really missing.
I mean, Greg, technically international ball, you could. I mean, you would think Jaren Jackson's like 7 foot tall. He can handle that.
Come on now.
Javier says they're missing Chris Paul. Well,
No, they're
Chris
not.
Paul's at the point where
you
don't need to see that dude anymore.
No. I will say that
I will say this. Pop a hamstring.
No, I will say this though, really quick. In regards to like a veteran point guard, that 2008 team, like all the documentaries, all the stories get told about that. The one thing they never talk about is how important Jason Kidd was to that team. Everyone talks about Kobe, and rightfully so. Jason Kidd was like the floor general for that team, despite having Chris Paul and Darren Williams back when Darren Williams was really good on the team. So you do need that really good veteran floor general point guard that Jason Kidd was. It's just Chris Paul's not that dude anymore. He's just not.
Right.
Maybe Halliburton will be that next year. Maybe he'll take that next step and be that guy.
Yeah, they could use some of the guys.
I love Halliburton.
I'm a big fan of Halliburton too. All right, let's go to the next NBA story because this one is kind of a little interesting as well. I mean, I had to pull a picture of some players in street
It's the
clothes.
best reference picture you're gonna have. You know what it is without any text being there.
I could have went with the low hanging fruit and put AD, but I feel like people beat up on him enough. Let's pick the Clippers duo of Kawhi and Paul George. We know that last season they talked a lot about load management and what they wanted to do. They implemented the 65-game rule for a lot of the postseason wars, which have a lot of money and stuff tied to it. But I feel like where we're at right now is these networks who paid a lot of money to have the NBA game are like, well, still an issue with nationally televised games and guys sitting out. And for Adam Silver and the other owners and everything, seems like they're trying to do something about it, which I give them credit for. I do have the little drawn out plan here, but basically what they're going to do is for a nationally televised game, I believe teams can't sit 2 star players. Oh, Greg left. Well, I'm sure he'll be right back. But you can't sit like 2 star players, and their definition of a star player is a player that made the All-Star team or an All-NBA team within like the last 3 years. And if you do
Pretty
that,
generous window. Pretty
it
generous.
really
window.
is, yeah. And the first violation, 100,000. I mean, teams aren't going to really care about that. Second one's 250,000. Okay, $1 million for each penalty after the third one. Maybe that's where we start to see some things because, yeah, these teams are owned by billionaires, but billionaires aren't trying to give up money just for no reason. So they'll make sure that doesn't really happen. The issue also with this article says, well, now teams will just kind of attach injuries to players. I mean, I guess Silver can't really take that part out of it. Like if they want to put down, twisted ankle or sore back or something,
it's always going to be a back injury because you can't dispute. You can't, oh, my back hurts. That's the easiest way to do it.
Right. So there's only so much the league can do. The 65 game thing I like. Even this one, I'm okay with it because the nationally televised games are an important structure for the season, and that's where a lot of these teams really get their money, and they have the platform of being the only game on at that time on TV. Now, unfortunately, it's not going to stop Lakers going to Orlando and LeBron and AD probably sitting out. That might still happen because that game's not going to be nationally televised, but
right.
At least they're trying to do something. So I guess, Dylan, I'll go to you. Are you okay with this measure that they're trying to put in? Do you think it's going to affect anything in the grand scheme of things?
It will. Like you said, it's just going to depend on the owner. Some of the owners are not going to want to be taking penalties like that after some point. I do think it's just something. I don't think it'll have as big of as an effect as something like that 65 game rule did, because that prevents getting awards and different things like that, and that money goes to just the team. The team has to pay that, not the player. So
yeah,
who knows? At the end of the day, I guess it just depends per owner, because some owners are not just going to care. They're going to be like, it makes them happy when I do this. They won't ask for a trade, so they'll eat it.
Yeah,
I mean, the only thing that I could think of, and it's kind of funny, the rich owners might be okay with this. And who's the richest owner in the NBA? It's Steve Ballmer, the owner of the Clippers, who's the face of this little thing that we have here. So he's probably going to be like, it's fine, $1 million. I like the idea. I think it's really smart because they need to bulk up their big national games. They need to get those numbers, that viewership number higher, where they're just getting dwarfed by other sports, especially football. I don't think we're going to see a ton of it. Most teams only have a handful of games. It's only the big teams that have 10 plus games of national broadcast. So the chances for them to get into this situation and get 3 or 4 of those penalties is pretty slim. But I like the idea. I like what they're trying. It shows that they're trying to fix the problem. They see this as a problem. They want to fix it. They want to make it better. Is this the ultimate fix? It's not, because you still have the resting unnecessarily where teams go to a game to see a certain player and he's sitting for a game that's not nationally televised, and that's still a problem. But this is a step in the right direction, and I like what it's going for. And I would expect, with Adam Silver being as proactive as he is, that it's just going to advance in the coming seasons and get more in depth and stronger as time goes on.
Okay. Well, Greg, I know you kind of backed out there. We're just talking about the measure and whether or not it's going to work. So you can go ahead. I guess give your thoughts on if you think this will do anything in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. So because the first time when I heard this and I was like, yo, what are they qualifying as a star player? And then I saw the qualifications. I was like, okay, so I mean, Jalen Green can still do what he wants to do, but I don't think it's going. I appreciate the attempt. I really do, because now you can't say the NBA hasn't done anything to combat this or stop this. Because if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. But there are always going to be a loophole. But I appreciate how much more difficult they're going to make it, especially for national television televised games. It's nothing worse than seeing that, and then it's on some load management stuff for certain stars for a key matchup game that somebody has spent months and months, preparing and buying a ticket for. I understand the outrage. I understand that you may not want to play in Utah, but I mean, okay, like when it's nationally televised, choose another game to do that if you're going to do that. But I I don't know. I just wonder if Kawhi and what you call it. I wonder if Kawhi and Paul George like start flipping like a coin or start playing rock paper scissors to figure out who's going to sit out. Like who's going to sit out this go around and kind of flip it next game. But yeah, I like the attempt, but it is what it is.
Yeah, so that's a great point you make there, Greg. It's a good attempt. It really is. It shows that there's progression. I don't think it's going to lead to a lot now, but it's a lot better than what we had 10 years ago when this was starting to become a problem, and it's going to build to something right in the future. And so that's my takeaway from this.
Yeah, they're trying.
They're trying.
That's all we can say.
Not going to knock it. Not going to knock it for trying.
Absolutely. All right. Let's go ahead and get into the NFL. We talked about it kind of at the start. We can kind of get back into it. So we talked about some of the things that maybe were surprising and everything, but now let's get into just overreactions that we think could actually be true going forward, because it was an unpredictable week. It started Thursday night where the Lions got a big win at Arrowhead against the Chiefs. Sure, Kadarius Toney had something to do with it, but the Lions still got the win.
MVP.
Hey, gotta be remembered for something.
That was so bad. So bad. I mean, look, he played terrible, and if he just doesn't make one of like 4 mistakes, the Chiefs win that game. Mm-hmm. Like he can have the deflect pick 6, he can have 2 other drops. If he doesn't have that last drop, the Chiefs probably still win. That's how like preposterously bad his play was, where if he just makes 3 mistakes instead of 5, they win the game. Like that's just I feel bad for the guy, honestly, but
I did until his stuff after, where he's trolling the Giants and stuff, deleting the account.
I didn't even see that. I don't pay attention to that stuff, but that's pretty rough.
Yeah. So after that, I was like, you kind of getting what you deserve at this point.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So, so looking at overreactions that we think might actually become a trend this season. Start with you, Greg. What's one that you got?
I know this is an overreaction, and Freddie, I do apologize, but I mean, man,
that's where I was defense, go if you didn't.
That so defense, bad. Hey, Freddie, I don't care what you was talking about. Whatever you was on that live, I don't care what you talking about. That defense is crazy. That defense might single-handedly, Michael Parsons might single-handedly drag us to the NFC Championship. I'm not going to say that they're going to go to the Super Bowl. We haven't been to the Super Bowl in years. We haven't been to the NFC Championship in all of my existence, all of my 25 to 26 years of existence. But Micah might do it if this is how we going to play. And maybe the Giants are just that bad. But if this is how we coming out on defense, I can see us going to the NFC Championship. Michael Parsons alone, regardless of how many picks Dak Prescott throws, even though we don't talk about it with Josh Allen or any of these other quarterbacks, it don't matter. I think Mike could do it by himself. That's how I feel him right now.
That performance, like it's easy to overreact because it's one game. It's the first game of the year. The Giants looked overwhelmed, not like we talked about at the start, not ready to go. Mm-hmm. But like I'm watching that game, and I'm not a huge Cowboys fan. I don't hate them like most people do. I've never liked the Giants, but that's mostly because I've never liked Eli Manning. And so I'm just watching the game, and I'm laughing just at the absurdity of it, of just how ridiculous. I'm like, wait, what? Like how? And they're like, the game got so bad that they were talking about and like the third, try and like make sure there's no dead air time for the commentator team. Like that's how bad it was. And then they're like, oh, why is Daniel Jones still in the game? Well, I think it's to show how tough he is. It's like, no, they're just dumb. It's not to show that he's tough. Like if you have to get hit like 10 times to show that you're tough, you're with the wrong group of people. So do I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl? I don't know. Was it a really impressive performance that impressed? Yeah, that was a very impressive performance. And about Dak Prescott, the thing that I think is a really positive to take away is under Kellen Moore, they wanted to throw the ball. They want to get really fancy with their offense. And it appears like Mike McCarthy's more traditional and playing better to what Dak Prescott does better. And Kellen Moore really didn't want to do that because Kellen Moore wants to be more fancy, high flying, which is fine if you have the tools for it. And I think it's going to work for Dallas's favor. And they looked great, and they're one of the top. They're probably the second best team, top 2 teams in the NFC. Worst case, top 3 teams in the NFC. So not a crazy take because that was a soul crushing defeat at the Meadowlands. That's the best way I could put it.
Yeah. I mean, Jake, you can go with your overreaction.
Sure. So yeah, like overreact. Like I said, we always overreact to week 1, and I've been thinking about this for a couple of days, or yes, it's Sunday, trying to think which one do I want to be, because I got a couple here, but the one that I'm going to go with that leads off is I think the Vikings are done. DONE, done. They're dead. They're garbage. They won 13 games last year. They had a negative point differential, which all the advanced stats says like never happens. They should have been an 8-win team. They don't have a good defense. They lost Dalvin Cook. I don't love their coach. I don't love their quarterback. And they played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are not a good team. They have good players, but like they're not a good team. Tom Brady is the GOAT. He had a great season last year, and they barely stuck into the playoffs in one of the worst divisions in the history of the National Football League. And they lost in week 1. Like it just looked bad. I don't have any faith in the Vikings, and I don't think that's an outlier. I think they're going to win like 6 or 7 games, and it's going to be Kirk's last year in Minnesota.
Okay. Dylan?
It's rough. Like Jake said, week 1's very unpredictable. I kind of want to go the route and just say the Giants are going to just be bad. I mean, that offense is probably going to just.
That was one of mine I was thinking of.
Yeah, they're just going to be bad. Like all my oversight, I've been saying that the Giants aren't going to be good is kind of true, and kind of the same with Minnesota. I kind of piggyback what Jake said. And then one I thought was interesting is like, what was up with the Steelers? I get playing the 49ers is a rough go around, but man, you didn't even really make it look too competitive either.
That was bad.
Bad. I mean, even for a Mike Tomlin coach team, that Steelers team looked horrible. It couldn't get anything going on the running or the pass. Kenny Pickett still looked like he had a lot more growing to do. Man, that Steelers team is rough. We thought that was a team that could make some noise, maybe shock some people in that AFC North, and now it looks like they could finish bottom last, and that's understandable. So there's a couple ways to go with it.
Yeah, Dylan, the only reason I didn't pick the Steelers is because I've been hyping them up so much this offseason that I didn't want to admit defeat and sound like a dumbass. And I hate the Steelers. I do not like the Steelers. I don't like the fans. And I have friends that are Steelers fans, so I apologize to those guys. But I'm like, these guys are going to be good. Kenny Pickett's going to be awesome. He's going to be a top 10 quarterback. That defense is great. And it's like, oh gosh, and then it didn't help that everywhere I looked, everyone else is picking the Steelers to be good. So that's when I knew I was in trouble. Was when everyone else is picking the Steelers to upset the Niners, and the Steelers are going to win 10 games. I'm like, oh crap, I'm screwed here. I made the wrong choice.
I mean, Javier teasing me as a hot take. Can't wait to see what that
Do
is.
Do it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Javier. Let it fly. John thinks Seahawks take a step back.
I don't think that's a hot take.
I'll never admit that. I'll never admit that.
I don't think that's that hard.
Well, my overreaction. I think the Packers are going to prove what I've been saying for a couple of years. Once again, maybe this is Patriot motivated, but they needed to move on from Rodgers before and let Jordan Love cook. I mean, my guy went out there and, not my guy. I'm not a Packers.
I gotta say, your guy. When have you been a Jordan Love guy?
Kind of crazy.
On, man.
Yeah.
Well, once again, the Rodgers hate runs deep, but Jordan Love showed that, look, if you let him improvise a little bit, you let him kind of just go out there and play without the cloud of Rodgers around, he can make it work. I do think that maybe what we saw Sunday is something that is sustainable throughout the season. Yeah, the Bears are going through their own issues
Bears are
and
terrible.
everything.
Bears are
I
terrible.
mean, it kind of looks that way, but I'm not gonna go there with the Bears yet because I do think Fields has to have a good year, and I'm a big Fields guy. I don't want to see him have another year where it's a big time struggle. But yeah, for Green Bay, the defense, okay. You still have Aaron Jones, you still have AJ Dillon, great running back duo. I mean, Romeo Dubs look good. Why not? Why not with the Packers? Why can't Jordan Love have
I need
really
to see
good...
it against a team that's not named the Bears because the Packers have owned the Bears. Let's see if he can do it for more than 1 week, and then I'll start to jump on the hype train. And I have a bunch of Packer fans, and Chad, if you're listening, you were unbearable to talk to on Sunday. So let's just see if it can go 2-3 weeks, and then I'll jump on the bandwagon with you. Need to see it against someone other than the Bears.
So Javier's hot take was Brady will return this year as a New England Patriot.
No, if he's going to return,
Mac
he's going to the
good.
Jets.
Mac Jones looked good.
Mac Jones was fine against the Eagles. Yeah, I'm not going to buy into that. And I'm a Patriots fan. I'd love to see Tom Brady, but not needed.
No, if he comes back, it's going to be to the Jets, and that's all you're going to hear, and it's obnoxious.
If he does that.
Oh, what's going to happen to you?
12 is TB dead to me.
No, it's not.
What
You'll have
happened?
those
I
rings still.
can't.
Okay,
Look.
Kyle, do you have a Brady jersey?
Yes.
Are you going to burn it if he goes to the Jets? Are you going to be one of those
I
people?
wouldn't. I would,
Okay.
throw it in
Good.
it in the deep corner of the closet and act like it just doesn't exist anymore. That
That's
meme
fair.
that goes around with Stewie laying in the bed and turning over and crying?
Yeah.
I'd probably do that.
That's fair.
That would be me if I saw him run out with the Jets. No. Let them get Carson Wentz. Let me dream, okay?
Oh, Carson Wentz would be the worst. Like if
That's
Carson's
that's thrown around like.
I know it's getting brought around, but like why? Like he went to Washington, and Washington fans are like, last year especially, were like, we just want something that resembles a heartbeat, and they couldn't wait. They couldn't hold back the boos on Carson Wentz. You think he's going to do good with the Jets with this roster?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, that does lead to a question though. Rodgers is done for the year, and you have Zach Wilson, whatever you think about Zach Wilson. So the question is going to be, does Zach Wilson finish out the year, or do they sign somebody? And if they do, who do you think they should go and get?
Man.
Could be a trade or something.
I mean, I put it out there. Go for Jacoby Brissett. I mean, Sam Howell's that quarterback there. Brissett's always been a very good veteran backup. I mean, regardless of how you feel about the Packers' weapons, Allen Lazard still looked pretty solid out there for what he was. Breece Hall's still really good. You still have someone like Dalvin Cook. Garrett Wilson had that insane touchdown. I mean, and the Jets still won that game at the end of the day. The defense really did really well against the Bills. Forced 4 turnovers, regardless if that was basically just all Josh Allen, which it was, but still, that defense played miraculously. So, you can get someone like Jacoby Brissett, someone who can run the offense, and if he can get the ball to those weapons, I think he'd be good. I like someone who's played this season so far. Carson Wentz hasn't played. He wasn't on any really practice squads or anything like that. Get a dude who's been wanting an opportunity, who's been on a roster, is ready to go, because that's what you need for this team.
Yeah, what about you guys are gonna help me with the name, but he was a backup in Jacksonville forever. It was like Gardner Minshew. Is that his name?
Yeah, Gardner Minshew. Yeah.
What about where's he playing? Indy?
Indianapolis.
Okay, so Anthony Richardson looked really good. Like he really surprised me. One of my potential overreactions is he's gonna have the best rookie year of all the rookie quarterbacks because he looked really good. So if you're Indy, you're like, hey, maybe we can get a 3rd-round draft pick for Gardner Minshew, and he's a good game manager. That's what the Jets need. They have good weapons. You need a guy that can run for his life a little bit because that offensive line is so bad, but you manage the game, don't lose the game. And I think if it takes a 4th-round pick to do it to save the season, I trust that over Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I'd take Gardner Minshew. He's someone who can definitely win you a game.
I mean,
Yeah.
Greg, what do you think? Believe in him?
Uh,
I just forgot his name. The Zach Wilson.
oh,
Yeah.
Zach Wilson.
Or do you think they'll
No.
go after somebody else?
No.
And who do you think?
Look, if they really want to win,
Dalton, Flacco,
if they really want to win, call Dallas. We got a quarterback for you.
I mean, come on.
We got a quarterback that we just got from the 4th round. Go ahead, call us. Go ahead, call us. Get it off our hands, man. If you really want to win for real. Go
Well,
ahead,
if you want, to make sure Trey Lance's career is a complete bust, then feed him to the New York media with no training camp and see how that goes.
Yeah, I think that's a better option than Zach Wilson.
It's a name that's been thrown out there.
I'll take it. And give us something back in return. For sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't take that. No, Chet saying things like Flacco and Dalton. No, look, the Saints had good receivers last year, and Andy Dalton was terrible. Absolutely, unbearably terrible. So he wouldn't work. Flacco's been terrible for a while. He was with the Jets. I couldn't wait to get rid of him. You need someone that can move. That's the thing with this team. You need someone that can move because its offensive line is bad, and those guys are just statues. So they would just get hurt. They just get hurt right off the start.
That offensive line is definitely a good point that you'd have to kind of bring in the right guy. Otherwise, you'll just run into another.
What about if they went after a Pro Bowl quarterback and went after Huntley in Baltimore?
Huntley?
There you go.
That'd be interesting. He can definitely move. That'd be an interesting option.
You might need Tyler Huntley in like 6 weeks.
Oh, probably.
I just can't get the Ravens like hazing out of my system. I just can't help it. When I see those jabs there, I just can't help myself.
Embrace the dark side.
That's great.
Let the hate flow.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, somebody tell this person, somebody tell Colin Kaepernick to sit down. Like, just sit down. Give it up, man. Give it up.
If this was like 6 years ago, sure. But he's been at the league for so long, it's just not going to happen. If this was 6-7 years ago, then sure, bring him in for a trap. But at this point, it's like bringing Tim Tebow in to play tight end. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Like, come on, bro. Cam Newton too. Sit down, please.
I'll throw Cam Newton.
Yeah, tell us how that went, Freddie. Having Cam Newton there, or not, Kyle. I don't want to call you Freddie. Kyle, like it didn't work. It didn't work.
He would bring eyes to New York, though.
They could do that on their own.
All right, so before we get into the week 2 picks, we do have to look at week 1.
Oh, that's so bad.
Oh man.
I mean, so bad. I should be saying that. I went 1-4.
You were 1-4, Kyle. What good did you get right? What was your
the NFL just screwed with me? Okay, the Broncos. I picked them because I guess I'm just an idiot. I bought into it last year. I was like, it can't be 2 years in a row that they're terrible. Well, it looks like the same. I went with the Texans probably because I wanted to take a jab at the Ravens. To be honest with you, that one I don't feel too bad about. I thought the Texans did fine against the Ravens.
It was a 10-point. It was like what, 10.5? Like that's a pretty good spread to cover. That's not. That wasn't a bad take.
I don't feel bad about that one. Crazy enough, the Jets are the only one I got. So no matter where the NFL talk goes, it always comes back to the Jets with me. Then I had the Giants because I just wanted to be different, and then the Chiefs. Well, we all lost.
We all lost to the Chiefs. We didn't see that happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thanks, Tony.
I mean, come on, jeez. But you guys are 3-2. I'm 1-4. Now, with this week though, we have 2 Monday night games, so we'll actually be making 6 picks instead of 5.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how we were doing that, but I did select both of them.
Pick them all.
Yeah. So maybe next week I'm 7-4. We'll see.
Okay. If that's the case, Ben, go to Vegas. Go to Atlantic City. Go to Vegas.
I mean, technically, stuff's kind of turning in my favor. Patriots look good against the Eagles, and everybody thought they were blown out.
I was holding my breath on that one. My lock of the week was the Eagles to beat the Patriots, and I was sweating bullets at the end there because they barely covered that. It was like 4.5, and then won by, I think, was it 5?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that had me sweating.
learned my lesson to never pick my team as the lock.
That's true. That is kind of a rule to
But
live
if
by.
I went against that, I could have been 4-1.
Well, I need to move from this graphic because 1-4 is really
It's painful.
killing me. It is.
Painful.
So let's look at Thursday night. We've got the Vikings and the Eagles. The Eagles are a 7-point favorite, touchdown favorite. So how do you guys see this going? We'll start with Greg.
Taking the Eagles.
Pretty simple.
I'm taking the Eagles. I just don't believe in it. I don't believe in Kirk Cousins. I think Slade's gonna have a pick. And normally, if this was last year's Vikings, I would have taken the spread because I felt like it would be like a field goal kind of game, like a 3-point victory, 4-point victory. But nah, I'm picking 7. They might win by 10.
All right. I can go next. I don't like full touchdown favorites because you always have to be worried about like backdoor covers, all that stuff. But I got to pick the Eagles here. And the thing is, I wasn't as impressed with the Eagles really a ton. Like I thought the Patriots played a really good game. I thought they had a chance to pull away with it. Their defense was really good. Mm-hmm. There were just a lot of parts of Philly's game that I didn't love. Jalen Hurts didn't look as great as I thought he would. I had him on my fantasy team. He got me like 10 points, so thanks for that. While Tua's on my bench getting like 30. That just hurt. But the Eagles are going to win this game. I don't believe in the Vikings. Their defense is really bad, and I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to have kind of a roughish game back-to-back weeks, especially at home. So I'm taking the Eagles to win that one.
All right, Dylan, are you gonna go off the trend, or are you gonna take the Eagles as well?
No, I'm taking the Eagles. I mean, basically, it's pretty simple. They look bad against Tampa Bay, and we've had some questions when it came to what Tampa Bay could be. Man, if Baker Mayfield would have had a pretty solid game, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions against that Minnesota defense, imagine what Jalen Hurts is probably going to do. And then same goes with that Tampa Bay defense. It's not really too great, but did really good against the rushing game. I feel like the Philadelphia defense can do even the same. If not better, yeah, I'd have to take Philadelphia. Games like these will always be close. I mean, Patriots played really well against them, carved them up offensively, and Minnesota could just go and do the same with Justin Jefferson. But I'm going to take Philadelphia here. Take them by probably 7 points. Will probably be good. I'll take the spread with the 7.
I'm going the Eagles as well, but bold prediction: Kirk Cousins has a good game. I know primetime Kirk, everybody's scared of him. I say he throws. I kind of want to go even bolder and say like 300 yards, but I'll say he throws for over 250. And he won't be the reason that they lose. But yeah, I'm just going to go with the Eagles anyway.
I want to say props to the people that were like they're saying bad about the Vikings. None of us brought up primetime Kirk. We all held our tongue on that trope that's overused. So good job. Like we did good there.
Yeah.
Didn't he do like 4 picks against the Eagles last year or something?
And play well against the Eagles.
Yeah, I think last year. Yeah, last year they played the Eagles and it was bad. It was bad.
Their offensive line better be ready because that front from the Eagles is tough. I mean, Carter was living in the backfield for like the first half against New England. Then they kind of figured it out, but he's just going to wreck a lot of offenses this year. Well, we got Sunday night. My Patriots and those Dolphins. It'll be in New England. The Patriots are a 2-point home dog. So how do you see this one going? We'll go. I guess we'll kind of keep the same order. We'll go Greg, Jake, Dylan, then I'll go last.
Dolphins is winning this. I'm not even looking back. Like I'm not really thinking about it for real. No offense, Kyle, but it's not going to be close. I think it's going to be a touchdown, even 3 points. I don't see a 2-point. I really do see at bare minimum 3 points, but nah, I got Dolphins.
Okay. So this one I've been thinking really hard on because one of my potential takes was the Dolphins are the best team in the AFC. Mm-hmm. They looked really, really good. Tua looked awesome. Tyreek looked fantastic. And I still think the Dolphins, I think they're in that division. Really unimpressed with what Buffalo did. We know everything about the Jets. I'm going to take the Patriots. I'm going to kind of go the other way here. And I think they have a chance to win. The Patriots, I know the Dolphins in the past have always kind of been the Patriots' kryptonite, but I think it's going to reverse here. I really liked what I saw from the Patriots defense against the Eagles. They played really, really tough. Mac Jones felt like he was making some good reads there. A couple throws he kind of didn't get quite enough on, but that was against the Eagles defense. The Dolphins defense is better than they were last year, but they're not the Eagles defense. So I think it's going to be a close game. It's prime time. The pass rush is going to be pretty tough on the Dolphins. And I just something in me, like I want the Dolphins to do good. It's something in me just going to say that the Dolphins may even win the division, but the Patriots are going to win this game. So I'm taking the Patriots to win, probably by like 5 points, 5 or 6 points.
All right, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm also gonna agree with Jake here. I'm taking the Patriots to win here. For kind of basically the same reasons. I really like their defense. Also, I'm kind of been the one that's been a little bit down on the Dolphins. So them playing how they did against the Chargers looked pretty well. So the Patriots winning here would definitely help out with what I'm saying. But yeah, the Patriots look really good on offense. Regardless of how the Dolphins did on offense, they did struggle defensively as well too. The Chargers did score 34 points at the end of the day. Mac Jones can have another solid game. Get to receivers, make the running backs look good. All that defense has to do is stand up, and that's the strongest suit for the Patriots. So I think the Patriots could win. 2 points is, 2-3 points like a field goal. It's going to be really close. I don't think it's going to be, a touchdown game or anything like that. I think the Patriots are going to claw for it. It could be 17-17 Patriots kick a field goal to win it. Final seconds left, and that's how it's going to be. But I'm taking the Patriots.
To be honest with you, I did not think this was going to go this way. I thought I was going to be the only one on the Patriots. I'll take them because, I think the team is definitely feeling much better about themselves post the Eagles game. And that game could have gone completely left after they were down 16-0.
I thought it was going to be a blowout after 16-0.
Yeah,
that's what I thought was going to happen.
And a lot of that was like unfortunate plays, off Bourne's fingertip, and then the fumble by Zeke when he hasn't fumbled in I don't even know how long. So it just seemed like it wasn't their day. They came back, made it interesting late, and almost pulled it out. So I do think the Dolphins have a tough offense with Waddle and Hill. I think what people fail to realize is that the Patriots actually do pretty decent against those two. Last year in the first game, I think Waddle had a decent game, but Hill didn't do anything too crazy. In the second game, I think Hill was up by then, but they kind of bottled up Waddle. They're going to do a lot of, underneath and the guy over the top and try to keep them out of the end zone, make them go on long drives. So I do think the Patriots find a way. I mean, I'm going to say that they win it outright, of course, but yeah, I just like what I'm seeing from the Patriots. And I'm high on the Dolphins as well. I said all season, well, before the season, like the Dolphins are the one team in the AFC East I'm legit scared of because of the offense. And I know Fangio's at some point will probably get that defense to a level where the Dolphins are going to be scary for AFC teams. But I'll take New England. Maybe if it was in Miami, I might think differently because that's like House of Horrors for New England.
Yep. Patriots look good. It's funny what an actual offensive coordinator will do for your team on offense, right? It's just funny how that happens.
Thanks a lot, Matt Patricia, you bum.
That's the nicest thing you could say about it for how awful he is calling him a bum. There's about 10 other words you could use for how bad he was.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So like I said, 2 Monday night games. The first Monday night game, which I think is like 7:15, got Saints, Panthers. I mean, Bryce Young, because we talked about the young quarterbacks. Bryce Young had a rough go of it against the Falcons. Now he gets to go up against another kind of pretty decent defense in the Saints.
Pretty decent.
Well, I'm just saying.
Look what they did to Tannehill.
Brother.
I was just saying, it's still 1 week. I feel like pretty decent is a good, describer for right now. Fine, I'll say great defense in the Saints. There you go.
Just say like above average. Like they were good.
Above average. We'll settle on that.
I'll say this: they're going to look great against the Panthers because that Panthers O line is not good. That Bryce Young is going to have a rough one.
Yeah, and if the Falcons were able to get to him, I feel like the Saints will definitely be able to do, if not the same, it maybe even put more pressure on him. So if we're looking at this one, I guess we'll say Jake for last since this is his team. So I'll start. Then we'll go Greg, Dylan, and then Jake. We'll end with you. I'll take the Saints. I'll take the Saints minus the 3. Because I watched that Panthers-Falcons game, and that Panthers offense needs a lot of work. Bryce Young was kind of inaccurate. He seemed kind of unsure of where to go with the ball. I think he'll be better as the season gets on, but early in the year, it's going to be rough. So, just give me the Saints. Derek Carr, I have more faith in him than Bryce Young.
I echo that I echo that sentiment. I'm picking the Saints as well, and I've been somebody that I told people I wasn't that high on the Saints, but in this case, I got them better than the Panthers at this point. So yes, I think it's going to be pretty not bad, but it's going to be rough for Bryce Young. And Cam Jordan is just probably one of the most consistent people I've ever met in my life. Like, he's just so consistent, like, in life. Like, I don't know, like that's a solid dude.
Yeah, I'm piggyback off of it and make it short and simple. Taking the Saints. I didn't really like what I saw from the Panthers. I thought, that Falcons game was arguably a winnable game. At least I felt like they were going to look a lot better than what they did. Not to undermine what the Falcons did, but did think the Panthers were going to look better with the additions they made, like that Miles Sanders, Adam Thielen, some veteran additions. I thought they might look a little bit better than what people expected, but they didn't. I think the Saints defense is going to make Bryce Young struggle. Made a good veteran quarterback like Ryan Tannehill and a good offense like Tennessee struggle. Imagine what only they're going to do to that Panthers offense. So, yeah, I'm going to take New Orleans. Even with Carolina, they don't really have the greatest defense as well, too. Seemed like Derek Carr was finding a good connection with like Mike Evans and some of those other receivers out there. So I think it's just going to be a good building chemistry game. I could see, New Orleans winning by like 14, 17 points, 31-14, calling it a good night.
Yep. So, even though I'm a Saints fan, I pride myself on not being a homer, but the Saints are going to win this game. I'm taking the Saints. The Panthers, they look bad in the preseason. They look like a bad offensive line in the preseason. Nothing was really great to take away from it. They played the Falcons, who aren't going to be a very good team. Things looked really bad for Bryce Young. Now they're playing against the Saints defense, who's probably, I'll say they're probably like a top 8. They're probably like the 8th best defense in the league. Like, they're not top 5, but they're not like middle of the pack. They're a good defense. They have a really good secondary. The Carolina Panthers don't have good weapons on the outside, so that's going to be a big problem. They have a good pass rush. So the Saints should win this game. The only thing that would make me worried as a Saints fan is I didn't love the offense that I saw in week 1, but that's also week 1, Derek Carr's first regular season game. And Tennessee, people always poo-poo on the defense. Like, they play tough. It's always a tough game against the Tennessee Titans. So I expect the Saints to win here, probably by 10 points.
Okay. Got another Monday night game. This one, I believe, kicks off at 8. Well, like the normal, 8:15, 8:20, whatever they do. We have the Browns. Impressive win in week 1 over the Bengals, going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, there was a lot of people who thought they could upset San Francisco.
Yeah, that was me.
That was me,
well,
too.
I mean, it wasn't just you. There's a lot of people who were picking that one. They got their doors blown off, but now they're going back home to Pittsburgh to face a divisional rival. So you feel like they'll be up for that game. Steelers are a home dog, though, plus 2.5. How do you see this one going? We'll start with Dylan, then we'll go Greg, Jake, and then myself.
I'm taking Cleveland in this one. I mean, we saw what they did to a team like Cincinnati, a team that we had a lot of hopes for. I mean, their defense was killer. Held them to 82 passing yards, like 150 total yards, which is crazy for a team like Cincinnati, who we thought was one of these top offenses in the league. And we look at Pittsburgh; they struggled a lot offensively, and that just doesn't smell like a good matchup for that Pittsburgh offense, especially with what Cleveland did last week. Deshaun Watson looked good. Brock Purdy killed that Pittsburgh defense. Deshaun Watson has a good opportunity to try to do the same, kind of put up some stats. That Cleveland game was that Cincinnati one was a really good week, but didn't really do anything crazy stat-wise. It was just a solid performance, which is all they need in some instances. But this is a good opportunity, kind of let that offense flow, kind of see what we can get done. Expect Nick Chubb to have a pretty good game, always does. So, yeah, I'm taking Cleveland. I like the 2.5. I think Cleveland can win by 10 points.
I'm going to pick Cleveland, and I just want. I don't know. The Steelers can always make this interesting, but it was just so disappointing seeing them against the 49ers, and I'm just like, I hope this is not, what's to come. But at the end of the day, I think Cleveland in general was going to win more than 2.5. I think it's going to be like a 5, 6, 7 point game from them. They look pretty, okay on the offensive end, and hopefully this, can have, continue to, get momentum for them as the season progresses. But I have Cleveland.
Okay. Oh man, I hate this pick. Like if I was a betting man, I would stay away from this.
I wouldn't even bet it.
I would not bet any money on this because I don't trust the Browns. It's hard to trust the Browns. I was super high on the Steelers. They looked like complete garbage last week. Do we really expect the Steelers to have back-to-back bad performances with Mike Tomlin? Man, this is tough. Because also, if Cleveland wins this, they go to Pittsburgh on Monday night. That's like winning the Super Bowl for them. I mean, that's how they treated that wild card victory a couple years ago. I'm pretty sure that was in Pittsburgh when they won.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns. I do think they win this game. I really don't feel good about it. Like I said, I wouldn't go anywhere near this if I was a betting person. But the thing that I look at is the Cleveland Browns have a really good defense. They have a ton of players on that side of the ball, and they really struggled with an elite pass rush. Well, who's like the worst case scenario, the third best pass rush in the league is Myles Garrett. Like you can't make an argument that he's any lower than third. Like he's so good.
Yeah, and Watt, Bosa, Garrett.
Yeah, like when you make those choices, it's just like, man, I'd take any of those three dudes. Like I don't care. Give me any of them. I think it's going to be rough. Kenny Pickett didn't look very good. This is a really good defense, and I think this isn't going to be any better. This is a really rough start for Pittsburgh, and they might be able to recover from this, but I think Cleveland is going to show up. They're going to win. It's probably going to be 4 points. It's probably going to end up being 17-13, something kind of ugly like that. But with what I saw on Sunday with the Steelers, I just can't pick them. But I feel terrible about this pick. I don't feel good about it at all. Because the Cleveland Browns, when would this happen? When would they do something like this? Look good 2 weeks in a row against division rivals.
That's true. I mean, I'm going Cleveland. I mean, I've been high on Cleveland, and
props to you for seeing that, Kyle, too, because I was really low on them.
Well, I mean, it's still early, and there were some things about Watson that were a little off. He did kind of short arm some throws and everything, so I do think he's still kind of building up. I think by the mid-season or so, I think Cleveland's going to look like, well-oiled machine. They're still working out some things, but unless T.J. Watt completely wreaks havoc against Deshaun Watson, I just don't see how Pittsburgh wins this. I know what John put in the chat about this will be Mike Tomlin's first year under 500. I'm not going to go that far yet because they started off slow last year and then went on a crazy run when nobody was really paying attention. Who's to say they can't do that again this year? But for this game this Monday night, I'll take the Browns and start the season 2-0. Browns fans will be feeling themselves for sure. So actually looking at our picks so far, the only one we've differed on is Greg has the Dolphins while the rest of us have the Patriots. We've kind of aligned on everything else.
Oh man.
which means I'll probably be stuck in last place even next week because we're just agreeing on everything.
Sorry, Kyle.
It's all right. We have a chance now with our locks and upsets. Maybe I can make up some ground there. All right, so here's the rest of the week 2 schedule. Interesting games on here. So those of you, if you're new and first time tuning into the Big 3, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. But we picked the primetime games, and then we each will take a lock and an upset for the week. We do it against the spread and everything like that. So yeah, looking at the week 2 schedule, let's see. The order will go in. I think Jake started with these last week, and he took Dylan's, I believe. So let's start with Greg.
Can we have duplicates? Is that we never established that
that's
rule?
fine.
Like, are we allowed?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if this is like a game that you really wanted to pick as a lock or whatever, I don't want to like force you to pick a different one because somebody else took it. So we'll go Greg.
That's fair.
We'll go bottom to top. So Greg, Jake, Dylan, then myself. So locks and upset. Here we go.
Locks and upset. Locks. Cowboys. Cowboys Jets. I have that locked in. And I'm not a fan of doing 9.5, 10 points. As you know, like Dylan said, not really a big fan of that. But the way I saw Zach Wilson had to force Garrett Wilson play DB and wide receiver to catch a touchdown pass, I like my odds. And now upset, that's where it gets tricky for me. I'm gonna keep it spicy. Commanders Broncos. I got the Commanders winning that one.
I was thinking on that one. That's not a terrible upset. That's not a terrible one. All right, so I'm looking at this here. I'm gonna go for my upset. I'm gonna go. The Ravens are gonna upset the Bengals. That 3.5. I didn't love what I saw completely from the Ravens. J.K. Dobbins, my running joke with him is the best thing. The only thing he's the best at in the league is getting hurt, and I feel bad for saying it because he always gets hurt and he seems like a good dude.
Yeah.
But I think the Ravens are going to look a little bit better. And again, I didn't like what I saw from Cincinnati, so I think the Ravens are going to upset Cincinnati. And then my lock for the week, looking over here, San Francisco over the Rams. I know 8 points is a lot, but I don't think the Rams are going to be able to kind of duplicate what they did against Seattle. There's going to be some tape on them. I know these guys play really tough, but I just think what I saw from San Francisco against what I still presume to be a decent Steelers team was just astounding. So I'm going to take the the 49ers over the Rams as my lock.
For my upset, this might upset, one certain Freddie, but I'm taking the Cardinals over the Giants. The Cardinals look very solid in that first game. It seems like they're going out there to play to win. Like Jake said, they play rough, they play gritty. And if the Giants are still kind of figuring out some question marks and they can't figure those question marks out this week, the Cardinals could easily take it. 6 points, even a field goal is still a win in this case with the spread. So I'm taking the Cardinals with the upset, and then my lock, I'm taking Green Bay over Atlanta. Really liked what I saw from Jordan Love last week. Really liked what I saw from that Packers offense. Their defense did really good, holding Justin Fields down. That new improved Bears offense really made them struggle. I'm really high on the Packers. I really thought, this is a team that could kind of just be like, we're still here. We're still going to, lead this division. This is still ours. And Jordan Love is still kind of going out there and proving it. So I got the Packers as my lock for the week.
Okay. Now, John said he bet Dylan was going to say upset Seahawks over the Lions. That's actually my upset. I think Lions had an emotional win Thursday. Yeah, they had a long time to kind of sit there and get over it, but I just don't think the Seahawks will look as bad as they did week 1 and week 2. I still believe in the Seahawks. Look, I'm big on Geno Smith. After last year, I think he's turned the corner. It's kind of late in his career, but he at least got there. I just think there's enough there that they could upset a Lions team that's going to be riding high into that game. It is in Detroit, so it's going to be tough, but I think the Seahawks find a way to pull that one out. My lock now. I'm tempted to go with Buffalo, but do I want to let Josh Allen kind of do it to me again?
That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points, man.
Yeah.
After
Raiders won,
the
too.
second interception last night, I was like, somebody needs to get in Josh Allen's ear and tell him, we do not need you throwing these random downfield throws that I guess Buck was talking about. Oh, it's like a punt. You know, it's also like a punt. A punt. So we don't need you to throw an interception to punt the ball. Get the yards you can, and then send your punter out there. It's not that big of a deal.
Agreed.
Oh, I mean, as a Patriots fan, I would like to see the Bills struggle. Jets fans and Bills fans miserable. Early Christmas. Actually, I'll take that one. I feel like Buffalo's gonna, try to prove something and get that stench of the Jets loss out of their system. The 9.5 is scary, but I'll take that one.
I was thinking of the Raiders just to cover the point spread as my upset because everything I saw from Buffalo last night was not good, not impressive. But then again, it's week 1 and the Jets have a really good defense, so we'll see.
I'll give Buffalo credit. Like their defense was flying around.
It was.
It's just that Josh Allen and those stupid turnovers.
It's a roller coaster, man.
Limit it to one interception. You're allowed one dumb downfield throw. Outside of that,
the same person, and then fumble it.
It was so bad last night.
It was bad. Yeah. One of my other things I was thinking about for the overreactions was that Josh Allen is no longer a top 5 quarterback.
Well, I didn't have him as top 5.
Like the mass media has him as top 5. Like most people have him as quarterback 2. And I'm like the best case. Like if I had Josh Allen stock, like if we had stock in players, I'd be selling it because it was not good, and it wasn't good to end the season last year either.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for Stephon Diggs' sake, they better not lose to the Raiders.
Oh, that'd be bad. That'd be bad.
Oh man. All right. I mean, I guess before we get out of this, like, if there's any other games you guys are kind of interested in or intrigue you in any way?
I want to see how the Bucks do again. I want to see how they do against a team like the Bears. Really see if the Bears are still kind of, in that state where we don't really know what we're gonna get from them, or is this Bucks team kind of like, a legitimate contender?
Sneaky
NFC
tough,
South?
Yeah.
I mean, when we look at them on paper, at least offensively, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans is still one of the best receiver combos, and if Baker Mayfield can get to him solid, have a real chance. So I'm really interested to see what that game holds out. And then I like that Commanders-Broncos game. I just want to see what else is coming out of both teams. Broncos struggled that first week. Sean Payton offense or the Sean Payton overtake kind of didn't really work out week 1 as planned, and somehow looked pretty solid in that week 1 start. So, it's interesting to see where both teams go from this.
Yeah, I'm just gonna people chat saying for Bears and Buccaneers. I need to see. I'm not going anywhere near near the Bears for putting any kind of bet on until I see them look good, look halfway decent. I wasn't impressed. I really want to see Justin Fields succeed. I want to see them be good. But that game on Sunday was pretty rough. The Commanders Broncos is going to be really interesting because the Commanders defense is really, really good, and the Commanders offensive line is really, really bad. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that kind of interaction goes. I think the real good game that we're going to try and get a good feel for is Kansas City and Jacksonville. How is that going to play out? Jacksonville, they pulled out a win, but it was really, really close against the Colts. And then we obviously know Kansas City doesn't have good wide receivers, but they got their Chris
Jones.
Chris Jones. They got him back. Hopefully Kelsey's back. So that's going to be okay, are the Chiefs really going to be it, or are they going to be a team that's going to struggle on offense? So those are the 2 or 3 games I'm really interested in seeing.
Greg, you got any?
Actually, I'm a lot more interested in the Texans Colts than I probably should be. I think the Texans might upset the Colts.
Anthony Richardson impressed me, man. He looked pretty sharp.
Yeah, I want to see how CJ Stroud
Like that the young
looks against
quarterbacks all
that.
face each other.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
cool.
like that.
I like that
I
too.
like that. Another thing I would probably going to see or I'm
Yes.
interested in seeing is Raiders Bills.
Raiders
Just
Bills. Yep, that's a good
yeah,
one.
that's what I'm looking for. Just to see if Jimmy G does something crazy. And makes me slander Josh Allen even more. So
Slender Josh Allen even great.
yeah, I don't know, man.
That's great.
I guess I'll get the grids ready to go here.
Very cool.
While you're getting
Yeah, well, I'm
that,
gonna still talk a little more
I
about.
just want to bring up. Yeah, we haven't talked enough a lot about Aaron Rodgers' Achilles injury that happened last night.
Mm.
I don't want to rub it in the Jets'
Mhm.
face. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I do just want to say, like, if Aaron Rodgers does come back, which is a big if, like, he's not going to be the same person. He's just not going to. The Achilles is one of the toughest injuries you could come back from. The best, we see it more in basketball, but the best case we really see is Dan Marino in the NFL. If you go to his Pro Football Reference page, he tore his Achilles. I think it was in '93. I only know this because my dad's a Dolphins fan. And after that, he had 2 good years, 2 pretty good years by his standards, and then it just fell off a cliff. And talking with my dad this morning, he said that Marino could never push off of that leg anymore. He couldn't get that delivery there. And we know medical science has advanced a lot, but also Marino was 32 or 33 when that happened. He wasn't 39, 40. And so
Mhm.
if he comes back, he's not going to have the mobility. He's not going to have that same ability to push off of that to get that force down there. So if the Jets do see him back there, don't expect it to be. This isn't an ACL injury where people could kind of come back a little bit. The Achilles is the hardest injury to come back from in any sport, and like I don't hate the Jets fans like Kyle does. I have more of a pity for them because they've never really been all that great, and it's sad, and if you would have told me this, I wouldn't have believed it. We'll put it that way. Like the NFL being scripted and all that, like they really worked overtime for that script there, because I think he's done. I think he's going to retire. That's a gnarly injury to come back from, and he has to know he's not going to be the same. He's not going to be an elite quarterback when he comes back, and nobody should give him any crap for retiring. Like, that's a career-ending injury. If someone's going to say, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers sucks. He's not tough because of Achilles injury," like, go tear your Achilles when you're 40. Yeah, tear it when you're 40 and tell me you want to go get in basically the equivalent of car crashes every week. Like, no. So I think he's going to retire, and it's sad. You don't want to see people go out on their back like that.
Mhm.
I agree.
I agree.
There you go.
And this one
There we go.
is
Actually, John had a comment I just want to say. Takes a much younger player to come back 12 months. That kind of goes with what you were saying, Jake, about Rodgers being almost 40. And you never know. He has a whole year to go hide in a cave. Also very true.
You can't rehab in a cave, though. Like, if you're going to rehab, you got to go to a doctor's or the physical therapist's office.
Got
You
special
can't be.
caves you can go.
Oh, there you go. He's going to have some hippie PT guy go out there.
Okay, whatever it takes to get you going.
Whatever. The physical therapy is hard, man. I go a couple times a week, and they're great. And when I'm leaving, it's for my hip and my knee. And when I'm leaving, I'm like, I can't walk because it's so tough. So I can't imagine an Achilles and having not just to be normal, but to play football. That rehab's going to be tough. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, I went through an Achilles injury and it sucks.
Yeah, it just
It's
sucks.
the worst thing. But all right, got the grid up. We have Cleveland, got the Lakers, 20+ point season, 20+ point game a season. We got the Grizzlies, 76ers, and then 5+ assists a game for a season. So where do you guys want to start with this one?
The 20 points is probably going to be the easiest. I'm just trying to think of people you don't think of that are going to do that.
Right. I mean, so the Grizzlies, I always think Vancouver.
So there's Abdul Rahim, who
Had to have done it.
Rudy Gay probably did it once. That might be an easy one.
You think
Big
OJ
Country,
Mayo has done it
Brian
before?
Reeves had to have done it.
Ooh, OJ Mayo, that might. Ooh, let's see. Let me think here. Because that's
OJ Mayo is a really good one.
That's a decent one.
See, my only thing is
I'm
OJ
trying to think of
Mayo.
Memphis players that have played on plays. He was such a bust. Let's see. I don't think he did it. I mean,
John's throwing some answers in the chat. So he says, Danny Green for the Grizz and the Cavs. He's got
That's a
Kyle
good one.
Korver
No, that's a
for
good one.
Cavs Sixers.
That's
And
good.
then for the 5+ and 20+, Kemba Walker.
there's a lot of people that can do that. Kemba Walker did it. I know John Wall did that like once or twice. There's a lot of people you can do for that. Gary Payton did it.
I mean,
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook did it
I
too.
mean, Walker's not a bad one.
Walker's good.
I mean, we can go with John's answers. You know, we do like.
We'll
to
respect the
nitpick.
chat. We'll respect the chat.
Yeah.
So
It's not just us in here.
exactly. So Danny Green. Okay. Kyle Korver. Another 22. So apparently John's hitting 22. And then bottom right, Kemba Walker. If this is 22%, then I don't know. You might have to play 22 in some type of lottery. Why'd it go to Bemba? It doesn't recognize Kemba, but it recognizes Bemba.
That's crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. 0.2. Okay.
There we go. Nice work.
Nice one. I mean, I think Marc Gasol played for the Lakers.
The Laker fans, y'all should be killing this one.
Or Paul Gasol. I mean, both Gasol brothers, technically.
Yeah, so
I mean,
both
the
Gasol brothers are a good one for Memphis Lakers that could work.
I know the Memphis 20 points that might be good is Abdur Rahim.
Yep, let's do Abdur Rahim.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a whole lot of scores. I don't even know how to
Nobody's
spell that
gonna
guy's
talk about
name.
them.
7%. Nice.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Dwight Howard. That was another one for Sixers Lakers. That's a good one.
Okay, so you guys look at Saul brothers for here.
Which one do we want to do?
Oh, D'Anthony didn't. No, wait, no. I take it back.
Maybe Mark.
Disregard.
Probably Mark would probably be less known than Paul. Yeah, I would do Marc Gasol on that one.
That was the most recent one. Yeah.
Okay, 35. A little more than I thought.
I know Cleveland 5 assists. If we can't think of anybody, Ricky Rubio had to have done it. That might be too high on the percentage, but no, Ricky Rubio did that at least once.
I've got a name for the Cleveland one.
Okay, let's see.
Bob Sura.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Who? When?
Yeah.
When was that?
I don't know who that is.
Bob Sura was a sneaky, decent point guard. He was like a triple-double threat for like a couple of seasons. It's just that he didn't have the staying power and he wasn't that well known, but he was actually a really decent point guard for Cleveland.
How long ago was this?
Sura had to be in the maybe late 90s.
Okay, so I wasn't paying the attention to the league as a whole back then. All right.
Yeah, go ahead, Bob, sir.
96 to 05.
There's no way he didn't do that. Come on. I just went on that whole thing about Bob Sura. You tell me he didn't do
it? For Philadelphia, 20 points, try Doug Collins. The only reason I know this is because I've done research on like all the first round picks, and like he's a first round pick. I think he's only done it once or twice in his career, but yeah.
Doug
Yeah,
Collins.
Nice
Okay.
work. So I don't look up these answers, but I wanted before we moved on. I looked up Bob Sura, and he came at 4.8 assists a game.
Man.
Career high.
Man.
Wow. That's
Sarah,
crazy.
you made the list.
Oh
I
man.
felt so good about that one too.
So for Philly Lakers, would Wilt count for that? Because
But I think he's a part of the Warriors. Did that count for
oh,
like him
maybe
being
that was the.
Warriors?
I think that was the Philly Warriors. That's a good
Philly
point.
Warriors.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that is tricky. Yeah.
I know Dwight Howard for sure, but like I'm trying to figure out somebody else besides him.
Right. That's such an easy name just to kinda
Or
go off
Andre
of.
Drummond. Forgot about Andre Drummond, but
Did Drummond play for
who
Philly?
else? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He did.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. You have did
We can go
JaVale
Drummond.
did JaVale ever play for
You could
I don't
probably
know,
give
dude.
Mark Price for Cleveland 5 assists, couldn't you? Mark Price? He had to have done it.
I like that
He
one.
had to have. He had to
Yes.
have. He was really, really good. He had to have done the 5 assists. 4%.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, Mark Price. Not Bob Sura.
you go.
Nice. All right.
15%. Okay. I mean, Lakers 5+ assists. Yeah, there's plenty of guys we could have gone with for that one. Let's see the most popular. So Powell was more
Oh,
popular
they
than
gave
Mark.
him Wilt.
Mike Miller. I mean,
Okay. So
Mike
they did
Miller.
give Will.
Kyrie, Joel Embiid, John Morant, Russell Westbrook.
So we did good. We only had one of the popular ones. That was pretty good.
And
Okay.
Cleveland and Memphis is apparently the one that gave most people trouble. All right, let's go to football. All right, so we got the Panthers, Colts,
Somebody else.
1,000+ yard rushing season. Niners, Bucks, and the Jets. All the Jets. Of course they're on here. Like we didn't talk about them enough tonight.
All right. So for the Jets, 1,000 yards, like Curtis Martin's our safe bet if we can't
Yeah.
think of anybody. We could probably think of someone that's a lower percentage, but Curtis Martin's like our safety net there. I'm just trying to get.
Damian Tomlinson would probably.
Is it 1,000 yards with the team or just 1,000 yards in his career and he happened to play on the?
It's 1,000 yard season with that team, I guess.
Because I don't know if
Actually, that's actually good.
because I don't know if Tomlinson actually did that. Because by the time he got to the Jets, he was winding down.
True. All right, so John says Christian McCaffrey for Panthers and Niners. Yeah.
That's almost too easy, but that's a good one.
Yeah. Where did Josh Norman
Niners,
play
1,000
after?
yards, you got what? Frank Gore.
Josh Norman, where did he play? That's a good. So Greg asked where Josh Norman played.
After the
So
Panthers.
Norman, you'd have the Panthers.
I don't think he played
Didn't he
for
play
any
for
of
the
those
Niners?
teams.
I think Josh Norman had a stint with the Niners.
He might have.
DeForest Buckner for 49ers Colts would be one if we ever needed it.
That's a good one.
Just thought about him.
Sam
Might be a simple one.
Sam Darnold might be one for Jets Panthers, right?
No, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were right there on Norman playing for. I think he had one season towards the end of his career with the Niners. Let's do Josh Norman.
I think you're right too.
Yeah.
The top one. Yeah,
Oh,
2%.
dang.
Take it.
Josh Norman, he's the one who like Derrick Henry stiff-armed into oblivion.
Yeah,
right?
to oblivion. Yeah.
Sad that's what he's remembered for.
Right.
And that Odell thing.
John said Zach Wilson for Jets and Panthers.
I think he's talking about Sam Darnold. I think that's what he means.
Yeah, because Zach Wilson's only been on the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to be Sam Darnold he's talking about. And you could have used Sam Darnold for San Fran Panthers.
So for Niners, 1,000-yard rushing season, Frank Gore is the obvious answer, but we could think of someone better. There has to be someone. Like, Roger Craig had to have done it back in the 80s.
Man,
with that
for no, I'm trying to think. Buccaneers. I'm trying to think.
I know
Just who would
nothing
be
about
unique.
the Buccaneers.
Well, Doug Martin. Remember
Doug
Doug
Martin?
Martin?
He probably
Muscle hamster?
did. He probably did the 1,000 yards.
Muscle hamster.
I love Doug Martin. I was a big Boise State fan. I love Doug Martin.
There you go.
Okay.
Let's do Roger Craig for Niners and the 1,000 yards. Because everyone's going to be saying these benefit from really old dudes.
Okay.
20%.
I feel like for the Jets, I've mentioned this guy like every week. Thomas Jones. Did he do 1,000 yards?
That's a good question. Because that would be a good one. Because no one really remembers the dude.
Man, who are those like running backs during the earlier Jets? Man, like the Mark Sanchez Jets. Even like later on, like the crappy Jets eras.
They had those big bruisers that went in there. Like it was LT, and then they had like a big bruiser guy. But who was that guy?
That's a good question. John says Henry Anderson for Colts and Jets.
I like Thomas Jones for the Jets 1,000 yards. I think that happened. That had to have happened because he put up good yards like everywhere he went, and no one remembers him. His name is even generic. Like no one remembers the dude. No offense to him. I mean, he's more famous than I'll ever be, but
Let's see.
Thomas Jones.
Redeemed from the Bob.
There we go.
7%.
Nice work. 7%. All right. Buccaneers, Panthers.
John said Russell Shepard, Bucks, Panthers.
Baker Mayfield.
True. Technically.
Oh yeah.
Layup. Bucks. Colts.
That might be a good one. Do people remember he was in Carolina for a little bit?
You know, his last season. Who knows? Probably not.
I mean, he wishes
pay attention to it.
he doesn't want people to remember he was in Carolina. He was that bad. It was terrible.
Oh wow, 71%. Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
well,
Everybody knew that one.
it's a shame coaches don't count because you could have Tony Dungy for Colts Bucks. That'd be an easy one. I just don't know much about the Buccaneers. That one's hard.
Panthers Jets. I mean, we can always have that Sam Darnold one just in our back pocket.
Yep.
So John put Jericho Cotchery, Panthers Jets.
That's good. That's actually
Yep,
that's really good.
That's a good pull on that one.
I haven't thought about in a minute.
For real. 4%. That looks like a mugshot. Like that doesn't look.
That's crazy.
That's not flattering at all.
Colts Bucks. Man.
Colts, but Grant Stewart.
Colts Jets.
Who are this? Colts Jets.
I feel like it's a wide receiver for Colts Jets.
Did Jeff Saturday always play? Like, did he play for the Colts his whole career?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Okay. I need to start looking up offensive linemen.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of us said that last week. That's what we have to do.
Yeah, there's probably like a lot of O-line.
Or the special team. That's what we need. The special teams guys.
Oh yeah.
There has to. Oh, so Colts Jets.
Or Rodrigo
I could pick
Blankenship. I mean, didn't he play for the Bucks and the Colts? He started with the Colts. I know he was on the Bucks, but they might have released him. He might have been a practice squad thing only or something like that. But I know he was on there at some point.
I'm not mad at picking a kicker.
That's
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I know he was on the Bucks at least practice squad, but man, they might not give it to me.
No,
Yeah.
Oh, I
I
got
know.
one for the Colts Jets. I got one. Antonio Cromartie. He played his last year with the Colts.
Mm.
20%. Gosh. Whatever. We got it.
Who the hell?
Oh, Dallas Clark.
Dallas Clark.
Dallas
He
Clark.
played for the
24%, so it's really not a big percentage and
Yeah.
like of options.
Wow.
Warwick Dunn for the Bucks. I mean, Warwick
Yeah.
Oh,
Dunn's
I was
another
thinking of
great
him.
unit.
I thought Cadillac Williams might have been good. I thought.
Oh, I forgot about
Yeah, I
Cadillac.
forgot
that
about
was a
that.
fun. That was a fun guy to have back in the day. Which one was the toughest? I'm curious on that.
The Bucks
Colts,
one.
Jets.
Oh wow, no Colts Jets.
Those
Oh,
ones are
Frank
both
Gore.
pretty tough.
Yeah.
Mm.
Curtis Martin. Yeah. Okay.
Didn't Frank Gore also play for the Colts at one point too?
I feel like he played for a few teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Gore had what? Niners, Jets, Colts. It might be the only three.
I felt like he was on a
Frank
lot more
Gore-
teams
like
than that.
five-
Frank
these
Gore
options.
lasted so much longer than I thought he would.
Everyone.
I don't know why I felt like he was with Atlanta for a minute. I don't know. Like I
Big
feel like he was a
bruising
little.
back to last as long as he did. Shout out to Frank Gore. Okay.
I'm going to
Now
look
he
up
be
and see
fighting.
how many teams he played for because now I'm.
Yeah.
Now I'm legitious. Well, he played for the Buffalo Bills, like his last season.
That's right.
Of course, my internet's gonna crap out on me, so maybe I won't look it out. Oh, there we go. San Francisco, Indy, Miami, Buffalo, Jets, and most of like Miami, Buffalo, New York Jets was all 1 year stints. It was mostly San Francisco and Indy.
Right. Well, he did. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Miami one.
Wow.
All right, Frank Gore. All right, so those are the grids. John
Boxes
Pickett,
now.
Anderson. Huh?
I said he boxes now.
I
He
mean,
fighting.
that's what they all do now. They finish up as running backs and they turn to boxing.
More CTE.
As long as he doesn't have a Nate Robinson moment, he can
More
continue to box as long as he
CTE.
wants.
Crazy. Crazy.
I mean, it's a natural transition.
Is it?
You have to be kind of
I mean,
crazy to play.
You got to be
running back.
crazy to do it. Yeah, you got to get the
Yeah, you
gotta
get the
crazy.
crap kicked out of you on Sundays, the crap kicked out of you in the boxing ring.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean that's all we have. But before we get out of here, if there's anything that you guys wanted to kind of bring up, we could definitely do that. Greg, you have anything to add before we get out of here?
Nah, I think that it was a great pod. I hope that the Jets figure out something because you have like 5 weeks of primetime games, and I can't sit through Zach Wilson for all of those. Like, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I can't do it. So something needs to happen for
As long as it's not Tom Brady.
For Kyle's sake, for my sake, it still has to be entertaining.
We don't need that.
We need you to lose in entertaining fashion at least. You know what I mean? So, and shout out to Brees Hall.
Dude, he looked legit. He looked legit.
For sure.
Had
Brees
2
Hall was
rushes
looking
when he had
crazy.
over 100 yards. Like what?
Who's that dude?
I got nothing else to add. It was a great pod, and just football's back, and it's great. Like just watching football all day it's a treat, and I'm not going to take it for granted because before we know it, it'll be February, and we'll all be, that starting that hangover that takes for 8 months. Feels like 8 months to come back from.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan, got anything on that?
No, nothing too extra. I mean, yeah, glad football's back. Week 2 of college football is getting interesting. It's crazy to think we're about to be on week 3 of college football. Hopefully, it doesn't feel like it flies by this fast as much as it has already. But I'm enjoying it. Glad that week 1's done. But I can't wait for this week 2 matchup. Starts tomorrow, so can't wait. Well,
Yeah,
starts
good.
Thursday. Whoops.
Yeah, good point there for college football. Also, Coach Sanders, he's a legit coach. That team
know.
looked completely different after I watched I turned away at halftime between Nebraska and Colorado because it was kind of ugly. It was pretty boring. And then my dad came upstairs. He's like, "Hey, you watching the game?" And I was hooked on it because it looked like a completely different team, and that's a sign of a great coach. So shout out to Colorado. This isn't media overhype. This is a legit team with a legit coach.
Seems like he knows the pulse of that team for sure.
Yeah.
They'll be 3-0. They play Colorado State next week, so that's an easy win.
Yep.
Continue to climb
And
those
then they
rankings.
got their meat and potatoes. Then they got Oregon and USC after that.
Yeah.
So Dion's really gonna have to. We're gonna see how Coach Prime really does in prime time.
Mm-hmm. But Caleb Williams, Deion Sanders.
Yeah, man.
I like that. I mean, I don't think.
Go
Well, John
Ducks.
said go Ducks.
We will see.
See, Texas Tech gave you guys some struggles.
That was scary for Ducks fans. I have a bunch of Ducks fans in my life, and that was not a pretty game.
Yeah, that's
That was not a good game.
I mean, the only thing I'll add is kind of what you said. Football's back, college football, and Jets fans. It is what it is. That's all I'll say.
Did Kyle get him injured? Who knows? We're still running a conspiracy theory.
Signs aren't necessarily pointing to me yet, so that either means I'm a genius or I literally had nothing to do with
You're
it.
doing a good job. You're doing a good job.
You're doing
So I'll leave it
well.
up to you listeners to decide how that goes. But I mean, seriously, hopefully Rodgers can heal it, and if he decides to come in for another year, which I kind of agree with you, Jake, I doubt it, only because of for a quarterback having to drop back, pushing off. Yeah, that's not going to really feel too good or too natural anymore, because once you kind of tear that tendon, it never really fully heals back like it was before.
It's never
So,
the same. It's never the same.
Yeah.
John,
And John
I
saying
had nothing to do with it, John. I'm not gonna do that to Tua. Some might
Tua
say
doesn't
it
need
may
any
just
help getting hurt.
Yeah.
Doesn't
He'll
need
do that
help
on his
getting
own.
hurt.
Although you're a Pats fan, John, so I'll put it in consideration
Oh my
on the
gosh.
suggestion box. But yeah, so we're here every week, every Tuesday, 7:00. As you can see, we have a lot of fun with picks and everything. We make some jokes, have some good times. So if you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, share, follow, as well as tune into the other programming here on the network. We have Line in the Sand tonight. So if you're a wrestling fan, definitely tune in. A lot of interesting storylines going on there. You got main event Jey Uso, who's going to get traded, all that stuff they're going to talk about. You got coffee and sports in the morning. You got wire to wire tomorrow. The next thing you know, you'll have sideline to sideline on Thursdays. So a lot of great shows going on, and new shows are coming. So you'll definitely want to tune into those as well. So for myself, Dylan, Jake, and Greg, we're out of here. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we will see you next week.
See you,
Next week,
man.
everybody.
All right.